Today, I want to look at the Bomas meeting, looking at the Kalonzo Musyoka Kimani Ichung'wah-led committee. I want us to ask ourselves, how much is going to be achieved? And are they on the right track? I like being simple, and I also like answering the questions immediately I ask them. The answer to this question is yes and no. Let's begin with why Kimani Ichung'wah and Kalonzo Musyoka will achieve nothing at Bomas. There are two main reasons why they will not achieve anything. Number one, Bomas is a PR exercise. Ruto and Raila already have a deal. I've said that before. I said that last week. They have a deal, Ruto and Raila. Each of these two gentlemen must act. Ruto by looking tough, sounding tough, talking tough, and Raila by dismissing Ruto. Why? Because Bomas is not meant to achieve anything according to Raila and Ruto. Raila must appease his team to continue believing there is tomorrow. Ruto is also walking a minefield. If Gachagua and the other people, especially from Mount Kenya, were to know, for example, that there was a deal between Raila and Ruto, the house will be put on fire, set on fire. And therefore, there must be soft landing. They are being prepared for soft landing. This is even more so because, in my own estimation and thinking, foreigners are involved in this game. And to these foreigners, the only way they can guarantee peace in this country to them, there can only be peace in this country, given the situation we are in of a disputed election, if there is some power sharing between Raila and Ruto. And it will come to pass. So Bomas will achieve nothing because of that. But let's assume that is politics. Let's look at the technical reasons why Bomas, and where Bomas means Kimani Ichung'wah and Kalonzo, will achieve zero. There are a lot of legal hurdles in the way. People are yet to go to court and they question the formation of that committee with the usual stuff of public participation. Because anyway, you are going to use public resources. People are yet to go to court and say if this is a parliamentary formation run by parliament, what are strangers like Kalonzo Musyoka, Cecil Mbarire, Hassan Omar, Eugene Wamalwa, what are they doing in parliament? Those are issues people raise. But let's look at more substantive legal issues. By going to parliament to anchor the whole process in law, Raila and Ruto have already consigned the talks to some pits. Very clever. Because the issues under consideration all center around an election. The election of 2022 is, according to law, concluded. Kenyans voted. Chebukati announced whoever he announced, rightly or wrongly. People went to court. The Supreme Court pronounced itself. End of period. Period. End of story. So an attempt to anchor these talks in law is a serious legal contradiction. and people will go to court. You cannot legally sit down under the auspices of the law to discuss an illegality. So the question of a disputed election discussed beyond the voting and the Supreme Court is itself unconstitutional. Parliament is not allowed to discuss matters that are unconstitutional. So whatever findings that will come from Bomas cannot meet favor of Parliament. They cannot be discussed in Parliament because they will be unconstitutional. Look even at a simple thing like IBC. There is an act of Parliament in force which clearly stipulates, sets out the process and the steps to be taken in constituting IBC. Sitting to discuss even that IBC under legal framework is already illegal. Because unless you repeal the act, which you can do, people sitting officially under law cannot purport to discuss that. And therefore, if you ask me, Kimani Ichung'wah and Kalonzo Musyoka are going nowhere. Absolutely nowhere. So yes, no, that committee, those talks at Bomas led by Kalonzo and Ichung'wah, from a technical point of view, are going nowhere. From a political point of view, is a mere PR exercise, because Raila and Ruto, according to me, not according to somebody, already have the answer, are working backwards. Like my friend Senator Okiya Mtata presented in the Supreme Court in the petition against Ruto's victory. That the numbers are first put there and then you work backwards to justify the numbers. When I was in primary school, we used to call it cooking. Mwalimu anakuambia you have the answer but you cooked it, so you are wrong. How did you get this answer without the steps? You cooked the answer. Now let's look at the positive side. Is anything likely to come from Bomas? Again, now I say yes. Because the people of this country, I hope Raila and Ruto will not be surprised, because the people of this country will take hold and charge of that process. The worst thing they did was to take this thing to Bomas. Highly symbolic. Bomas has a place in the history of this country. And the people of Kenya, through organized societies and groups, take it to the bank, will take charge of the Bomas process. And that's why I advised Ruto and Raila, if they want to have their way, they must do this thing in 2-3 weeks. And do it in a manner that will provide Panadol or a painkiller to the people of Kenya. The bigger question will remain that in this country we'll have to address the political question. And therefore I see a situation in which by design Bomas will fail. But unknown to the two who are designing Bomas to fail, the people of this country will take charge. Already on day one, there were people who came wanting to be listened to. There are people talking about extra counties, very passionate about it. They will not allow Kimani Ichung'wah and Kalonzo Musyoka to take tea and mandazi without addressing issues that touch on those people. The passionate appeal for one man, one vote from Mount Kenya. Those voices will find themselves in Bomas. The people who feel that unless we address the political question in this country, we will soon lose our country. Those people will make way to Bomas. And therefore, yes, a lot could come from Bomas, but it will burst the banks. The box that has been created by the players in which this game is supposed to take place is not big enough for the people of this country. And the people of this country will seek space. And that box not being enough will be thrown away. And the people of this country will sit down in Bomas, whether some people like it or not, and they will come up with a national charter. And that will be good for this country, so long as it is peaceful.